right now.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to our podcast.
Okay, so should we do the intro?
Ja, is goed.
Okay. We can do this.
It always happens
I
like
know,
this.
we get the giggles.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, I'm I'm sorry. I'm trying.
It's okay. It's like we just have the giggle fit right now. We're having
Yeah.
giggle fits.
Okay. Hi. Hi. I am Liz.
I might just keep it.
You might have to. I don't know.
We'll try one more.
Okay. Hi, I'm Liz.
And I'm River. And you're listening to
The
Book
Fairies.
Fairies. Oh, I think we did
Oh yeah. Hell yeah.
All right. All right.
The time has come.
The time has come, Liz. You are
Oh,
on the stage.
stage fright.
It's your day.
I have so much stage fright. Today, I'm gonna tell y'all about my book. Yay!
Yay!
Yay, Deb.
I have been
Well,
waiting.
you know a lot. I mean,
I haven't actually finished your story. I've only read maybe the first
Yeah.
3 chapters.
And I didn't actually send you all the chapters. I might just do that if you want, if you're down with that. Although I did tell you about the last chapter, so you are actually in on everything, like the whole entire fucking story.
It's because I pester you about it. You talk about it, and I'm like, you gotta tell me. And you're like, I don't know, should I? And I'm like, yes.
Okay, for my part, it feels like I am pestering you about it, and I'm just like, listen to me talk about my story and being annoying, and you're just sort of like,
No, I love it. I get so excited about mine. So it's like it's easy for me to understand that excitement, but also I have excitement for you because when you started writing and you decided that you were going to make it into a book, I feel like my heart leapt out of its chest and I was just so excited.
oh, that's so lovely. Exactly how I feel
Yeah.
as well with your
Yeah.
book. It's just so exciting to hear about it and to see you sort of getting your story out there and to get it better and better
Yeah.
with every edit and stuff, and just seeing you so excited about it. So
Yeah,
exciting.
exactly. And that's the
You
thing
know?
about writers in the writing community is everyone is so supportive of each other. It's there's no real competition when it comes to writing. It's just everyone wanting to make sure that the other person becomes a better writer and wanting to help them along the way. That's another
Yeah.
thing about just writing and the writing community that I just fucking love so much. It's just so wholesome.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, it totally
Yeah.
is how you would describe it. That's so crazy. I didn't really realize that
Yeah,
before.
but it makes sense because I don't know, there really isn't any true competition because everybody writes differently, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And there's different stories,
Yeah.
different genres.
Yeah,
different
my
ways,
story is so
exactly.
different than yours. And speaking of, do you want to tell
Yeah.
our listeners about your story? What it entails? What's the vibe?
Yeah, my book started with a short story because I was really into writing short stories
Yeah.
last autumn, I think. And I just thought of this story kind of a little bit, and then I started writing 3 scenes, but then they were already above 2K words, and I was like, well, shit, this is not a short story, and I haven't even started actually writing the whole story yet, so this might actually
Yeah.
be better as a book, which I never really anticipated before. I did start to write a book when I was very young, like in my early teenage years. So I did sort of have that in me, but I never anticipated that I was actually going to write a fucking book, you know?
It's when we're younger, we try and then something happens and it just falls to the wayside. And then you decide later on that you want to try again and you're like, hey, people actually write books. I'm a person that could do that.
Yeah. It's like something clicks and it's like, wow, I
Yeah.
can totally do this. And it doesn't matter if people don't like it or if it's not perfect. If it's good for you, then it's good. And that's one thing that's really starting to be a realization, because not
Yeah.
everyone will like it. So might as well
Yeah.
just write it for yourself and not
And
what people might
this is
like
your first
to
book. That's
read
another
or
thing that obviously I haven't even finished mine. I mean, the first draft and some edits, but writers always say that like you only get better with time and experience. So this is your first book, and if you're
Mhm.
already recognizing that, like you can only go up from there.
Well, people also told me about the last short story I wrote, that it was a lot better than the first one I did, with like the writing and
Oh,
how I
I guess
describe
so.
things.
I don't know. I
So
have
that
always
was
felt like you have a very particular way of describing things, and like maybe you are learning, the way that you like to describe things, or using more, I don't know, purple prose or something, but I keep thinking about the very first short story that you wrote, which was Love After Death, and that one, in my opinion, was super good. And like, I love the story. Like, for me, sometimes it's not even about the writing, it's about the story. And I feel like you just have like this super unique way of like creating very whimsical stories that are very captivating. And, writing aside, the story is what matters. Yes, writing will help, and, writing is a huge, important part of it. But if the story sucks, the writing doesn't matter, you know?
yeah.
No,
Oh, I'm crying. I'm
no,
blushing. You're so
honest. I'm
sweet.
being honest. Okay, continue. What's your book about?
Okay, I'll try to summarize it. So, it's basically about the main character, Susie, and she is an art student in college. Don't worry, they're not teenagers, they're like 25, 27. And so, Susie is in art college with her girlfriend, Joan, and they have this sort of friend group and they hang out a lot in parks. And so that's when they meet Ben. He moved with his
His partner,
with Oliver, we should
his
say.
friend.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Well, it's actually spoiler city here, probably, right? So he moves with his boyfriend from Utrecht to Arnhem, which is where the book takes place. It takes place in Arnhem in the Netherlands, and the year is 1987, and they are in art school. It's summer at the minute, but I am making it this kind of book
I love
where
that.
you go through the seasons. So you have it starts with summer and then it ends with spring. And so I have that in above the chapters as well, and I circulate through the point of views. So you get to go inside Susie's head, in Joan's head, and Ben's head, which is actually the three main characters. And so basically, it starts where Ben and Oliver move to Arnhem, and the third year of college starts. They meet in class. So Ben is sleeping underneath some tables on this makeshift mattress and stuff. And then Susie sort of kicks him. And she's like, "What the fuck? What did I kick?" And then she looks and she sees Ben sleeping, which is actually something that I took from real life because I was just casually working in my art school days and then I kicked someone under the. So that's I was basically
I
Susie
love it.
in the situation. So basically, Ben sort of goes around to find a canvas
Yeah.
because they are painting and stuff. And that's when he sees this painting in a
Mhm.
utility closet, I think. And he asks this teacher, like, where the fuck does this thing come from? And he's like very enamored of it. So he asks if he can take it with him. And the teacher's like, yeah, fine. I don't fucking care.
Literally in a utility
And
closet.
yeah, I don't know how it got here. Take it with you, please.
I love it.
Then weird things starts happening with the painting. Susie sort of feels the environment of the painting. It's basically a sunflower field with a house. And Ben goes home, he hangs it up, and then they come, Susie and Joan come to his house and check it out. And then they sort of from there they sort of dip their
Yeah.
toes into the
Literally
painting,
dipping their
literally.
toes into the painting. I love that.
Yeah, and I'm still trying to figure out how, because I also want them to go to a festival in the summer. So they sort of go there after sticking their heads into the painting, and it might be a little bit too chaotic, maybe, but they figure out they can go into the painting, kind of like with Narnia as
Into a
well.
painting, especially one with like beautiful sunflowers.
Right? It would be so cool to be able to just go into the environment of the painting, but it's basically
Yeah.
non-changing. So the painting is just there, like how it is always. And I sort of imagine it as being a sort of GIF or GIF.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think it's
fucking know how
either I
to
think it's
pronounce that word.
GIF. GIF. I think it's GIF, but I could be wrong.
GIF. That sounds
I
like
call it GIF. I
poison.
say GIF all the time, but I feel like there's this huge debate. It doesn't matter.
It's a moving picture.
Yes.
Yeah, so the painting is a moving picture. When they get in it, they figure out that there's people in the painting, but they don't see them, they don't hear them. They are in a loop, so they do everything over and over and over, and they can sort of go through them. So it's basically like they don't exist in the painting. So Suzie, Joan, and Ben,
Oh
like they
wow.
don't exist in there.
So what you're saying is like the painting has like a very like supernatural element to it.
Yeah, it's very, very haunted, kind of.
I remember when we were first talking about how and what you wanted to describe it as, and then at first it was like this wholesome thing, right? You're like, oh, this pretty painting, they go in, and then you're
Yeah.
like, fuck that noise, let's make it creepy. And I was like, yes.
You were so excited
I just
when
love
I told
creepy
you.
stuff. I love it. And like obviously I love wholesome stuff too, but when you were like, well, there's a scene where it's like kind of creepy and I want to keep going with that, and I was like, yes, Liz, yes. I'm like the devil on your shoulder.
Yes.
Make it really creepy.
Yeah, and thank you for that, because my story kind of goes from wholesome to creepy to wholesome to creepy. It sort of waves through. Oh, it sort of waves through those
I
two
love that.
genres, kind of
Yeah,
how it
that's
feels
perfect.
like.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, and I really hope that it will still be chill vibes and stuff, because I just want it to be vibes and to be just chill and to feel like a sort of
like like a hug.
I don't know, because they're just hanging out and being chill with each other and stuff, and that's kind of how I want to go about it. But then
I
sort of
think
went
like you still
the
have
creepy
that
route.
though, like especially in the very beginning when you're describing how Suzie and Joan are like hanging out at the park. Like I can envision what that looks like immediately because of the way that you describe it, like the
Nice.
sun beating down on them, like the grass and the trees, and there's like a little, I feel like there's a lake nearby, right?
I don't think I did describe that, but it's whatever you want it to be, baby. Just see however you want it to see. But it was really cool because I did think of Sonsbeek when I was writing it, which is a park in Arnhem, where I did hang out a lot in my art school days. So that's actually also why I let them be their chill spot. It's basically my student days all over. And it was really cool because I sent you pictures of that park and you were like, this is exactly how I imagine the park in your book to be. And I was like, do I have something to tell you?
Like I don't know, I just had like this very particular, there's like a feel to it that you get when things are described in a certain way, and it was definitely that for me. And so when you sent those pictures, I was like, hey, this like really reminds me of your book. And you're like, well, let me tell you.
Yeah, it was really cool because that meant that I was successful in it, right?
So like, how did you get the inspiration for this book? Like, was it mostly from, because I know it takes place in the 80s, so like there's like the 80s element, and then there's also like, you know, the artistic element. I feel like when we talk about it, like you draw a lot of inspiration from like your experiences, but when you were thinking of the characters and that kind of thing, like, was there anything else that kind of like helped you, um, I don't know, describe or like how the story came to be in your head?
Yeah, I don't really know a lot about how it came to be, but I suppose it's because I do love a lot of 80s movies. I just really love the vibe. And I know it's not like how it was in real life. The 80s, it's definitely romanticized, but it's really just, I
I
really
like
love
that
the
it's
vibes.
romanticized though, because
Uh,
just because you're
Yeah,
setting it in a specific timeline doesn't mean that it has to be exactly how it was back then, because like again, like this is your imagination, this is your story, so you're allowed to put your own spin on it, and I love it. I love like I love how Susie and Joan are both just like hella goth, like goth 80s. I'm like, oh, I
yeah.
live for that.
Yes, I'm so glad that it comes across like that. I really want them to be this thread goth, and then Ben and Oliver. I kind of imagine them being this like dark academia
That's exactly how
persona.
I like saw them as well. I kind of saw them as like the kind of guys that would wear like button-ups with like vests. You know what I mean? I don't know how to
Yeah,
describe it,
yeah,
but Dark Academia is
corduroy
like
pants.
exactly how I saw it, and I the two just mesh so well.
Uh-huh.
Like I love that there's like these two
But
like these two vibes that are different, but they just like work together.
yeah, and there's also this one character that at first I just had them in the first chapter, but now I want to have him keep coming back. His name is Luke, and he has this pink
I remember
mohawk,
him from
and I
the
really
park.
want him to be. Yeah, yeah, he
I
starts
love
talking
it.
to Ben, and he's sort of the sort of glue it
Yeah.
and the beginning, because he comes in the first chapter with Susie as well. But yeah, he's. I think I really want him to be on
I
rollerblades a
love
lot.
that. I love it. I love those characters that kind of creep up on you and then they're like they're just part of it. They're just like they're in
Yeah,
the story now.
yeah, and then at the end they end up having this big role in the story. But those are usually the ones that you just sort of come up with, or that they just happen to be there, you know?
I am like super excited to read more about him cuz he's such a character. Like who doesn't love a fucking character with a big ass pink mohawk, right? That's
Yeah.
awesome. I'm so excited to read more about him.
Yeah. I had a lot of eccentric classmates, so I did have a lot of
Yeah, like
inspiration
when I lived in the
from that.
Netherlands, I was definitely like goth alto, like yeah,
Alternative?
alternative people. I used to hang out with people like that with mohawks and like, the big parachute pants and like chains, and that was my vibe and I loved it, and I feel like we're very similar to that now, like us as people, like we're very
Uh-huh.
alternative.
And I feel like there's so few alternative characters in books, so I'm really happy to bring that to the world.
No, there really isn't. And when you do have them, they're usually like side characters or evil.
Evil.
Like I think
Oh yeah.
thinking back on Spindle Splintered, Charm
Hmm.
is alternative, right? And
Oh
like
yeah.
she's such a
Yeah.
cool character. It's like why wouldn't you want that as like your main character? So it's really awesome that you have both Susie and Joan like that way, and also that they're gay. I'm assuming that most of your characters are queer.
Yeah. Well, I don't know yet. I'm not really labeling
I
any
love
of
it.
them.
We don't like
Um,
labels here.
in this house, we don't label anyone.
No labels here, honey. Mm-mm.
Yeah. So Susie and Joan are in a relationship together, but Susie
Yeah.
is also asexual, which is not a thing that was actually well. It sort of started around the 80s, like the name of it,
So you actually don't use the
and
term asexual in your
so
book.
no, I don't use the term. I just sort of describe it just to be safe, you know.
People that read it, they either get it or they don't. And like if they don't, then I'm
Hmm.
hoping that like that will bring them to learn about it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And at first, I just had them as very good friends, as the historians would say. But then I had
I love that as the historians would say I'm dying inside. We need a t-shirt that says that. They were really good friends, as the historians would say.
I should make that. We have a Redbubble, right, for the book phrase. I never mentioned it before. We do have a Redbubble where you can get a t-shirt with our logo. I was actually gonna get it myself.
I really want one as well. So we should make that t-shirt.
Yeah, we should.
Cool, cool, cool,
Okay,
cool, cool,
cool,
cool.
cool, cool, cool. Oh yeah. Where I was going with that, I had a chat with you and Fright, and I don't know what it actually was, but we were talking about how asexual rap is there in books, but not really asexuals who are in relationships, and that's where it really clicked with me. And now they're so much better. The dynamic of them just fits so much better as girlfriends. I'm just really excited to write about them.
Well, I mean, it makes sense though, because I mean, I know we've said this on the podcast before, but you're asexual and you're in a relationship. And I think when
Mhm.
Fright brought that up, it's that, we need more representation that is not just an asexual person where people think like they don't have like sexual interests or attraction to people. Like you do. It's just not as it would be for me, you know? um and I think you describe it really well in your book, especially just like the dynamic between Suzie and Joan. Like they love each other and you can tell they have like a care and a love for each other, and they kiss. And I think that it's very good to show that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it really depends on the person as well. Some people do like to have relationships and in that way as well, and some don't. So it's really just a personal thing. Um, but yeah, it's I don't know. I'm really
Yeah.
excited to write them this way.
Diversity.
And if even like writing sexual tinted scenes, I could never do that. So it's basically self
I
interest as
love it.
well.
Well, I mean, like, I think it plays really well to like your writing style too. Some books are fine without any like sex scenes or sexual tension.
I don't even know how to write that, so I'm really not the person to do that.
I love it. You're like,
How do you write sexual tension? What the hell?
it's really funny too because sometimes like I think we talked about this how like even with certain shows and certain books, like you're like, wait, is this sexual? Like, is this a sexual thing? Like you have to ask.
Well, I just don't pick up on those things.
You're just not that way. You don't. It's not a natural thing for you, and I think that that's really adorable. So okay,
Oh.
so who is your favorite? Who is
My
your favorite
favorite
character
character.
to write?
Joan, 100,000%. No. Yeah, but she's really fun to write. She's the one that's really witty and sort of sarcastic. She cracks all the jokes. And I really want her to be like that. And she's also really. Wait, I had it right.
Yeah, she's
She's
like a
really
skeptical
skeptic
person.
as well. Yeah, yeah. Which is really good for my story because there's this haunted painting in there, and Susie and Ben are kind of like, oh hell to the motherfucker, yes, we can walk around in this shit. This is amazing. But meanwhile, Joan is like, this seems sort of demonic to me, dude. Why
I
are
love
you
it.
doing
She
this?
provides the logic. She's like, this is off.
Yeah, how did Button say that in Our Flag Means Death? This fog looks unnatural, and then he tastes it, and it tastes unnatural too.
I love you. Oh, I want to watch that series again so bad.
Do it, do it. It's amazing. I watched it today in my break, and I was like, yeah, wonderful show. It would have been so fun if the Dutch merchants
Yeah.
said something Dutch. Meanwhile, it was just yeah, 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 yeah. I did take note of how they talked, and it does look like they
Oh
actually
yeah.
have Dutch accents.
Oh no,
Oh
it's so
yeah.
interesting. Like I'm always able to kind of usually I can pick up on a Dutch accent like no one's business. Like my husband, he like listens to different videos before he goes to sleep, and a lot of them are like Dutch accents. And so I'll ask him like, "Is that person Dutch?" or that person's 100% Dutch. Like, I'll just know.
Oh, that's so fun. Do you have it correctly always or
Yeah,
no?
usually. Sometimes it's like definitely from Europe or South Africa or something like that, but similar, you know. Um okay,
Yeah.
so Joan is kind of like the skeptic.
She's sort of the badass, the jokey one. And Susie's very soft. She cares a lot about people, and sometimes it would be too much where she just sort of fucks herself over with it.
Like to a fault.
Yeah, exactly. So that's also a thing that I sort of took from myself.
Yeah, I was going to say that kind of describes how I see you too.
It just felt right for Susie. So I went with that. She's just very timid
Mhm.
and chill, you know? And Ben, he's just this painting legend.
I love
sort
it.
of. He's very good. I don't know why he's in school
He should
still.
just
No.
like have his own company or like own his own like museum or something.
Yeah, what I describe painting things a lot with him. Or I should do that a lot more because I did that in the beginning.
I mean, I think like it's enough to show
Yeah,
that like
true, true.
he's a painter in the beginning.
Yeah, and he describes these paint strokes of the haunted painting, and then he notices these vertical lines, which will definitely come back later on in the story. Ooh. I just sort of wanted that to be this hint thingy.
A foreshadow.
Foreshadowing. I still need to figure out Oliver. From what I know now is that he really loves books and he works. That's all I know actually.
I feel like with some of my characters too, like people will be like, well, what's this person like? Or what's this person's attitude? And I'm like, I don't know yet.
I don't know.
And you kind of described Luke already, right? Like he's like a skater and he's like a punk person.
Yeah, and what I really love as well is Joan's apartment. She has two roommates, and I imagine her room just having a lot
Yeah.
of fairy lights and stuff. And two of her roommates are theater kids, so they are very like dramatic. And I was sort of gonna make them nocturnal, but I'm not sure.
Can you please?
Okay, it's decided they are nocturnal.
So if you were going to associate your characters with like a specific color, like what color would each character be?
Okay, Susie will definitely bleep blue. Bleep blue. I wonder if any of you think that we are
I'm not. I'm
intoxicated.
literally
We are
drinking
not.
Coke right now. Oh, not Coke. I'm,
Are you
drinking.
doing
I'm
Coke?
drinking Pepsi. Just wanted a Pepsi, Mom.
Pepsi. Yeah, we're just in a giechelbui. I don't know how you say that in English.
We're having. God damn it. We're having giggle fits today. Okay, guys. All right. So Susie's a
Oh,
blee blue.
yes, she, especially because of her blue hair. Duh. She has this teased blue hair, like this punky thread goth kind of vibe. Immediately, I saw her with blue hair. I was like, let's make it a bird's nest, y'all.
Cool. Yeah, like and even in the paintings that you made, which you should definitely post on our Instagram, her hair just looks so fucking cool.
Oh, really? It was so hard to paint it, man.
I bet.
Teased hairs.
I had my goth 80s prom birthday thing and I teased my hair and I was like, why don't I do this every day?
Looked so good on you, too.
Yeah, but painting it, I can't imagine. No, it's hard to paint teased or messy hair.
0-10, not recommend. The painting though. But yeah, in real life, it looks so cool.
Yeah.
And Joan, I actually sort of painted with purple. So now I associate purple with her. It actually kind of fits. It fits really well with her. And then Luke, of course, pink, which kind of seems like he's the main character with how much I talk about him.
You should have a spin off about just Luke.
Oh shit! I should make a short story with that. Yeah, that's so cool.
And make it a reader magnet.
You should explain to me after this what a reader magnet is.
Oh,
and then
yeah,
I
no,
can
you
tell
should.
that.
I'll tell you what it is. So Luke was pink.
And Ben, I sort of suppose, is brown. He has this sort of vibe going on with dark academia. He wears a lot of brown trousers. And I feel like he would be very into autumn. So with brown and orange tints and stuff. And then Oliver, I don't know. So he's this clean slate that I really need to fill in.
I think that's okay. Like every character should have some kind of well-roundedness, but he's not one of your main characters, so maybe you just don't know as much about him.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't really come up in the story a lot because he's not one of the main gang, you know. Meanwhile, he is the one that actually brings them together
Hmm.
because Ben is with him. But yeah, you see him a lot in Ben's buffs when he's home.
He's just there for the looks. You just sit there and you be pretty, okay?
Yeah, just smile and wave.
You have one job, Oliver. Don't fuck it up.
I'll pass it along. Yeah, I'm currently editing a scene, or no, I already finished editing, where they're sleeping in the night and Ben hears these sounds from the attic. Oliver is this super deep sleeper, but when Ben wakes up at every little sound, so he's just awake and he hears this banging and stuff, and he's like, "Wow, what the fuck is going on up there, man?" And Oliver's just peaced out.
He just doesn't even notice. He's just like,
just sleeping peacefully. And I really want you to read that scene as well because I think it will be fun. And then the scene after is the one I'm actually editing right now. And you asked
yeah.
what my favorite scene is. And I think that's the one that's my favorite. It's actually one of the 3 scenes that I did write at the beginning when I was sort of making it a short story. I did have this scene, and now it's so exciting to see it sort of
Come together. You know, it's interesting because, like,
yeah.
you said you started it as a short story. And to me, maybe that was like you're using it as an outline, you know? Like when you start a book, you need an outline. You want to know what happens at the beginning, middle, and end in as much detail as you possibly can without, going too overboard. Like you still kept elements of your short story in the book that are near the end instead of changing it.
Yeah. Well, this is not even at half of the book, I think. Because it will get like crazy. I don't know, can I talk about that?
Yes, tell us. How crazy does it get, Liz?
Okay, so there's this one character that I never really talk about, and I'm really excited about her. She's a person from the Victorian era, and she's stuck in a painting. So Susie notices her, sort of watching her, and she's like, "Oh shit, someone's watching me!" And
What's her name?
Lucille.
Lucille. Okay, and she's Victorian.
Yeah. So at the beginning, Susie sort of sees her watching, but she's like, what the fuck? Because people couldn't see them in the painting. So she's sort of freaked out and she's scared to tell Ben and Joan. And so Joan sort of notices that something's off with Susie. So then once she tells them, Joan sort of gets a little bit annoyed with Susie because she didn't tell her, you know? But they will make up really quickly.
That makes sense though. Like, why didn't you tell me, babe?
Yeah, why didn't you tell me? A whole bunch of shit happens and then they find out that Lucille is stuck there and she's actually just trying to get their attention. And that's also the bang-in. So like she's throwing rocks out of the painting and that's the bang-in in the attic.
I think I remember you kind of telling me that like Ben puts the painting up against like a metal.
Yeah, an old refrigerator is banging back into the painting. And then they sort of rescue her and they teach her stuff about the 80s and stuff. And so she sort of goes along with them and becomes their friend. And I was like, okay, how can I end this?
Yeah.
Because this feels so soft, you know? It feels too soft to have them just become good friends and it's all happily ever after and
it's
stuff.
hard to have a story where there's no conflict at all. Because like how do they grow? What's going to happen? How does it end? I'm not saying it's impossible to do, but in a story you have to have some kind of conflict. And so I remember us talking about that. And then
yeah, so then I told you, like, wait a fucking minute. I'm gonna make her evil.
Yes. Liz, come to the dark side. We have cookies.
Come here, we have cookies. Cookies for days. And I was like, oh yeah, I like cookies.
So good.
Yeah. So basically she makes friends with them because she wants to take over Susie. Because she can't really live in this time without sort of breaking down. Her body will break down. So she will get these paint chips all over her body if she is out of the painting too long. And Suzie and Joan and Ben, they sort of try to help her get back to her old painting, because it's basically this other painting underneath the sunflowers is where she was actually going into, and then it was painted over while she was in there, and that's how she got stuck.
God, this story is so fucking good. Okay, keep going.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and that's how I decided that she was stuck there. So they go into the painting a lot to sort of find the way out for her, to find the old painting. And then one time Suzie actually notices where it is. And I don't know, should I tell where it is or no?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can. This
It's
is
all
spoiler
spoilers.
city.
So if you listen to this, you will know everything about my book.
It doesn't make it like less exciting.
Yeah, and I also, this is sort of the plot twist, right? I mean, I hope it will be a little bit of a plot twist feeling. That's Lucille's evil. And so then Suzie finds the old painting behind the wallpaper in the kitchen. She sort of rips it off, and then she finds this forest that was the first painting, and then Lucille's like, oh, so you found it. Cool. Now I can carry on with my plan. Then she sort of tries to murder her without murdering her.
Yeah, she's like basically just trying to take over her body, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because Susie's body will be able to survive in the 80s, but Lucille's body won't. That's basically her motivation to do this.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Her master plan. Does she have a villain?
Yeah, she's gonna explain everything to Suzie.
She's gonna have a villain monologue? Oh, yes.
Yeah. I think I told you that and you were so excited.
Because it's so iconic and like it's so like classic.
Yeah.
It's so classic like villain. Like, you sit there while I explain all of my plans to you.
Yeah, you can wait a while longer before you die.
I am so smart and you're gonna sit here and you're gonna listen to it. Nothing can go wrong during this monologue.
This is perfectly thought out.
Love it. Oh my god, so good.
But you can't hear sounds from the previous painting, like the forest painting and the sunflower painting. Sound doesn't carry to both paintings.
Yeah.
So she can scream all she wants, but Ben and Joan just won't hear her. Yeah, but so basically Lucille goes on this whole tangent, and then she goes and tries to kill her. And then Suzie and Ben come to the rescue, and they rescue Suzie, who ends up in the hospital for a brief moment because her throat is injured, and she goes home to Joan's apartment. And I'm thinking of adding something like that she wants to smoke, and then Joan grabs it away from her and she's like, no, you can't smoke just yet because your throat is fucked up.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, so if the vibe of your book was a candle, how would it smell?
Cigarettes, of course. Definitely cigarettes. And paint and sunflowers.
This is probably like a hot take, but I also really love the way cigarettes smell in the pack before they're lit. You know what I'm talking about? Like, just in the pack. Oh, it smells, it's just like the tobacco or something. I don't know what it is, but it just smells like so good.
I'm right with you. Also, lit cigarettes, they smell really nice to me as well.
I have the opposite of that. Because, like, I used to smoke when I was younger. Maybe it's associated with the memory.
Yeah, exactly.
Or something.
Maybe it's associated with negative things for you. And for me, it's cozy and summery and just being around people having fun, you know? That's kind of how it feels for me. And holidays and stuff. And also, when I smell beer, I think of festivals.
Oh, I love that. That's so cute.
I think I told you, right? My last chapter?
Oh, yes, you did.
Yeah. Should I tell that as well or no?
Yeah, why not? We already said spoilers, so...
so many spoilers.
Up, guys. More spoilers ahead.
Even more. Yeah.
If you don't want to know how this ends, just don't listen.
So they sort of huddle around to sort of figure out how to go about the painting. And when they rescue Suzie, Ben paints over the painting. So it will take Lucille longer to figure out the exit. He paints this sort of foggy street. That's like the first thing that pops in his mind, which is very dark academia of him.
I love it.
Which I'm now realizing I didn't even see that connection.
It makes sense. I love when things connect like that.
So he paints over it real quick. Then they decide to burn it because they were like, okay, so she tried to kill Suzie. It didn't look like she was backing down. So this might probably be the best just to burn it. So that's about spring, I think. So they go and sort of stand around the fire. But then the big comeback.
They're never dead.
No. Zombieland, they say that as well. Double tap.
Yeah. Double tap. I love it.
If you need someone to really be dead, double tap.
A double tap.
So Lucille has her evil comeback, and they sort of fight with her and stuff, and they get her back into the painting, and then they burn the painting. Oh, they go on this excursion with school, because I went on a lot of excursions as well, and then they go to het Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam.
Oh, I've been there. It's so pretty.
Oh, hell yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
I love that for you.
I have a vague memory of it. It's been a while, but I do remember loving it.
To be honest, same. I've been there as well, but it's very vague.
Yeah.
I know that Melkmeisje is there, and a bunch of ships and statues.
Yeah, I barely remember. I just remember the vibe.
Oh yeah.
I remember the vibe of it.
Yeah.
We need to post that meme. It's so good.
Which meme?
Can we normalize not remembering anything from a book, but just remembering that we love the vibe of it?
Oh, I need my book to be that. I want the vibe to be memorable.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, we need to post that in our photo dump. Okay, cool. Yeah, and so they go there, and Susie's like, okay, so what if there's a painting here that you can go in as well? Or maybe Joan jokes that or something. And then so they go around feeling the paintings just to see if they're real or if there are portals. And then this guard is like, don't touch the paintings.
Yeah, no, you're not allowed to touch anything.
You can't touch them. No. But then Ben calls Joan, and so Susie's alone, and she walks around this corner, and then she sees a painting which looks exactly like the one that Ben actually painted over the sunflower painting, like the foggy street.
What? Is it the same one? Did they touch it? Or is that how it ends?
Susie's like, holy shit, how does this get here? And so she walks to it, and she reaches out her hand, and that's the end of the book.
Oh, fuck!
I wasn't sure if I was gonna do that because I sort of hate open endings.
No, that's the best. That's so good. That's so good because you leave it open for the potential of something else, or it could just be a standalone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's so perfect. That's so cool. Oh my gosh.
Nice.
I love it.
Oh,
I love it.
The approval of River. Hell yeah.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited for your book. Do you have any idea of like when you would like to publish it?
I don't know, when I'm done. But
River, that's a really fucking stupid question.
Yeah, what the fuck, dude? No.
Are you excited to publish it?
Yes, I'm very excited to do that. But I'm kind of scared because people will rip it apart.
Yeah.
But that's what happens with all books, I think. Because there
Yeah.
are books that I really fucking love, and then I see people hating it. So it's really a personal preference. And
Exactly.
so I just think about that, and I'm just like, okay, you can't please everyone, so just please yourself, and then that's good.
Yeah, especially with the first book. Like your first book is your baby, basically. You know, you put so much effort into it and you worry so much about it, and then you set it off into the world. Whether it soars or sinks, like you should just be proud of the fact that you accomplished a goal.
Yeah.
And that it's finished. That's like what I keep telling myself too, that I'm just excited for it to be at that point
Where it's done.
I get to press publish,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, I did it. And if anybody ever buys my book, The first purchase, I'll be like, I'm an author now.
Yeah,
Book.
exactly. And I will be the first purchase. I'll promise.
Oh, you're so cute. I love you.
I'm just really excited about your book, man.
Yeah, same. I feel like so happy that you got to like talk about what your book is about. And I don't know. I'm really excited for it. I hope our listeners are excited for it.
I hope
I
so
can't wait
too.
to read.
Yeah, I'm so excited that you're excited about it. With what you were saying a little bit ago, I just remember this person on YouTube that we watch. He said one time, like, better done than perfect. And
Yeah.
that sort of
It doesn't
sticks with me. And I'm
yeah.
with everything, I'm just like, okay, better done than perfect.
Exactly. Like there's this one teacher I had a long time ago. Something that he said that really stuck with me was life is not a race and your time will come. You know, some people might be successful super young, like in life. I kind of see myself as like a fine wine. Like it's taken me 33 years
You are
to get
definitely a
to.
fine wine.
Oh, thank you.
Why
Aw.
thanks?
Been brewing since 1989.
Oh yeah.
Or fermenting, I should say. Been
Fermenting.
fermenting.
Fermenting. You remember that with Good Omens.
Yeah. I love Good Omens. If you had to like give a pitch for your book that was pretty like small, like your face. You're like, what now?
I'm like, please don't question. Don't ask us, please.
I have to. I have to ask it. If you had to describe your book in like a short sentence or sentences.
Uh-huh. Three art friends find a haunted painting and get jiggy with it.
If you don't put that on your book somewhere or at least in your marketing.
I should put it on my website once I
Oh my
make that.
gosh, you could also make bookmarks
Oh
for
yeah.
your book and then you could just have that on there. Oh shit.
I love your laugh so much.
I'm so annoying. It's like
No,
it's such
it's
a
the
weird
best.
like nah. Nope.
No,
But
yes,
thank
it
you.
is.
Oh, you're so sweet. So thank you so much for like taking the time to talk about your book with us and with me and our listeners.
Yeah, I would like to thank everyone that's listened this far, that you listened to my story. I really hope that you enjoyed it and that it's somewhat exciting to
Yeah.
hear about it, because I'm just really excited about my book.
So Liz is looking for beta readers. So if you are interested, if this sounded like an interesting story to you and you're the kind of person that likes to provide feedback, even if it's just this is a good scene, this didn't work for me, email us at thebookfairiespod@gmail.com and just let Liz know that you're interested in being a beta reader.
Yeah, I would really appreciate it.
More eyes, the better, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it would just be really cool to hear input and thoughts, even though it might just be like grammatical
This
errors, or like, oh, this was cool, or this is shit, or you can say everything, like, I hate this moment, or I don't know. It's all for the better. It
yeah,
will make the book
exactly.
better.
Exactly. Yeah, thank you guys so much for listening in. You guys can find more about Liz's book on their Instagram. Would you like to plug in your socials?
Rather not, no. I I have a lot of things about my book on my Instagram, which is ghostly Elisa. And I also have a Twitter dedicated to writing and reading, which is also ghostly Elisa. And yeah, we'll put it in the episode notes.
If you guys want to hear more about Liz's writing process, or you just want to get into writing yourself, or if you want to be a part of like our monthly book reads, we have a Discord that we link in our show notes as well. But yeah, you guys can find Liz and I on Instagram at the Book Fairies Pod. You can find us on Twitter at Book Fairies Pod.
Yeah.
And thank you guys so much. We hope you guys have a great day.